Okay, I got the bearings out of the rear wheel now. So I started from the cush rubber side, and there's a spacer in between the two bearings, and here it is, and you can see that it's got these grooves on each end. So all I did was just fit my punch in the center and just kind of caught each of those grooves, and I went back and forth from one side to the other, just a few taps on one side, a few taps on the other, until the bearing was out on the right hand side. So the bearing on the right hand side, both of these are 6203 bearings. They're both sealed. One side, the cush side's a little bit, makes a bit more noise. The right hand side, it's not too bad, there's no play. Still going to replace them. 12,000 kilometers on the machine. The funny thing about it is, and maybe it's not funny, there might be a good reason for it, I just kind of am not sure, but there's this grease seal that goes over the outside of the right hand bearing. Of course it popped out with the bearing, which is fine, but it being a sealed bearing, I was like, I'm not sure why they needed that. And when I looked at this bearing, it was full of all kinds of dirt. Like, even though it's sealed, inside the groove, both for the inner race and the outer edge of the outer race, it's just all kinds of grit and old grease and just filth, right? So it doesn't look like this was doing its job properly. And when you look at it, like at the factory, because this is all the old yellow grease that they use at the Madras factory, it's all in the center of the spacer, and there's no need for it to be in the center of the spacer. I'm confused as to why that's there, and it's just packed in. So I don't know. They seem to like packing everything with grease at the factory. But anyway, I punched out one side, and then what I did was I flipped the wheel over, and I just took a flat washer, and sat it on top of the spacer, because I didn't want to deform the spacer, didn't want to damage it at all. And I just had a piece of some 3/4 inch stainless steel tubing here. I just put it on top of the flat washer and just started smacking it using this as a drift, and it just popped everything out. So I'm going to continue on and take out the cush rubbers and inspect them and just clean everything up. There's grease everywhere. It's just a bloody mess. So I'm going to clean everything up, get it as clean as I can, remove the cush rubbers, get it empty, and then I'm going to proceed to change the tire. And I know that on the inside there, the tire along the rim where the bead is of the tire, it's going to be all kinds of rust. There was a bunch of surface rust on the front wheel, so I don't expect this will be any different. But that's okay. I cleaned the front wheel, cleaned up nicely. It was just surface rust, you know. It was very, very minor. It wasn't even, you couldn't even call it pitting very much. Cleaned up, and I got it nice and smooth with some sanding. Light sanding, and we'll do the same thing with this. But yeah, a couple of 6203 bearings. So I'm going to head down to the Princess Auto and pick up a couple of bearings.